when Molly got into that little room where all the babies are in those little containers, and she'd be on her stomach and lifting her head up and kind of looking around. I said, well, that's got to be mine right there. But she was already ahead of the game on the day she was born.
I mean, she walked at 10 months. You know, they say a lot of babies sleep all the time. She didn't. And I don't really think after the age of 1.5 she ever took a nap. Or we would be up really, really late just because she loved to go and do. But she was a great baby, very engaged in life and what was going on around her. The minute she could, I mean, she was going after the ball. I bought a doll house. I'd buy some dolls. My mother certainly would. She just would have no interest in it.
Molly comes in and we sit on our spots and I'm talking to the kids and, what do you want for Christmas? And what do you want? And she told me, she said, I want a total gym. And I'm like, I knew right then, a second grade girl who wanted a total gym for her birthday, that this was not the usual little princesses that I had.
Tennis, golf, basketball, she played that for her school, but she loved volleyball.
She had an incredible serve. She was an excellent passer. She was a great setter. She could hit with ball control, and she was a second and third grader during this time. So it was pretty impressive, really. I mean, her skills definitely were above average, to say the least.
She had those intangibles of being just a great leader and fierce little player at that age. You know, that's what was uncommon about her, was the smallest kid out there, but she commanded the respect of the people around her at such a young age.
I would say I have been coaching volleyball for over 30 years, and Molly is the best athlete I've ever coached.
One of the volleyball dads of the 12-year-old team, he called her Happy because she was so intense. She never smiled. I mean, she was focused and intense for those matches, and he goes, "Hey, Happy," you know, as a sarcasm that she was, you know, so focused. But she really had joy playing the game.
Well, you know, that kind of competitive player just is really focused and is playing to win every point. That's Molly. You know, there was no, you know, taking her time about winning. It was about win now. Let's no nonsense to get after it at that age. And you know, you just don't see kids that age that focused.
She was in second grade and she was playing on a 5th grade team, and this was at a community center. And so they were all 5th grade girls and she was in second.
And she hit a ball one time, and this girl was kind of playing with her hair and wasn't paying attention. She hit the girl like in the head because she wasn't ready. She didn't get her hands up in time. And then she tells Jennifer later in the car, she goes, "I just want to tell that girl, stop playing with your hair. This is volleyball."
At one of the tournaments, we, the girl that was serving first served the ball out. So now we have a point. Molly's my first server. She went back there and served 24 points straight. I mean, we're talking line drive serve. We're not talking, you know, underhand serve the ball over. And there were times that during timeouts, I would feel kind of a little embarrassed a little bit, you know. So I would ask Molly, I said, "Molly, can you serve underhand?" And she looked at me and she says, "I don't know how, you haven't taught me."
And then I noticed that the last couple of days that I felt that her left side of her face was pulling. It was kind of like, in her smile, it was kind of pulling to one side.
She used to do a face like an Elvis lip, you know, that kind of thing. And one side, the left side that was working would smile, but the right side would stay drooped, so we thought she was doing the Elvis face.
And I said, "Are you making that face at me?" And she'd say, "I'm not, Mom, I'm not." And I said, "You know, I just think we need to go see Dr. Kemper." We went in and Dr. Kemper said, "Well, the reason that that's pulling, you look like it's pulling, is because the other side isn't moving at all." And so she thought it was Bell's palsy. And we were really walking out the door from that appointment and with a prescription, and she stopped me. I mean, Molly was already out in front of me. I was walking out the door, and she said, "Jennifer, I really think we should just have something isn't settling with me. I think we need to go across real quick to the hospital and get an MRI." And so it was about an hour MRI. Molly had to be in there, and we left. And we went, you know, Dr. Kemper called me that night. We'd stopped to get something to eat, and then the phone rang. And I knew it.
And so her Elvis face was really the symptom that she had something wrong.
She had a grade 4 glioblastoma of the brainstem, and it's, you know, grade 1 to grade 4. Molly had the worst, an adult form of brain cancer, and that she had a prognosis of less than 5% chance of living.
Well, it's every parent's worst nightmare. No one wants to relive that, and it's really hard for both of us to even remember when she's sick. I mean, she had a great attitude while she was sick, but you know, it's a fear that something's wrong that you can't control. You can't, you know, I'm her dad, I'm supposed to protect her, and I couldn't do it. So that's really hard.
And then we found out what the next steps were, which were going to be daily radiation for 6 weeks, and then chemotherapy. And then she also had to have a G button put in, which would enable me to feed her baby food through her stomach.
The tumor was in the brain stem, and they got the tumor that had grown out of the brain stem, but they couldn't go in there without damaging potentially everything else. It's like the nerve center of your body. But you know, she was hopeful that they got it, they would radiate it, chemo treat it, and it would be gone, and then she could return to her, you know, it was just a blip in her radar.
It was absolutely amazing to me, but she would go into chemo or go to radiation, and then she'd come back and want to go with her coach.
For most people, we're talking adults, all the way up to adults, to be in her position, they would have given up. They would have been feeling sorry about themselves. Not Molly. Molly knew that this was something she has to overcome and to beat. You know, it's just another game that she has to, you know, to win, so to speak.
She never got down about it. She just worked hard. I have to say, of, you know, all the patients that I worked with, the children that I've worked with, she, again, just stood out.
You know, we're doing a boxing workout, we're doing our little circuit station, and she could be so tired at the end of the set. And let's say we set ourselves to do 2 sets, and you can tell this kid is tired. But then she just rests a little bit, get a drink of water, and she comes back and she says, "Coach, I'm ready again."
Because it was to get back on that court. That's all she ever wanted to do. She'd say to me, "Mama, do you think I'll ever get back on that court? Do you think my right side will be strong again? Do you think I'll be fast again?"
Her attitude, you would never know that Molly is sick. She comes in and she just gives. I always tell my kids, it's not about giving 110%. It's about giving your very best 100% of the time. And you know, this kid just drove in with her mom from the hospital after a chemo, and she could have gone home, but you know, she said, "Mom, I want to go see Coach Van." So she comes in, I meet her in the back, and I just know, you can see that she's so tired, worn out, but in her mind, if I can do this today, I'm stronger, I'm closer to getting where I want to be.
I can guarantee you, Jennifer and I could not have been more proud of her. What she did and how she behaved for the whole thing. She never complained about any of her treatments. She took all her medicines that she was supposed to. I mean, all she wanted to do was get back and play volleyball. And when she finished the radiation, which is the hardest part of, you know, just the physical draining of your body, you know, it was actually pretty good for a while, because the tumor hadn't regrown because it was being radiated, and she still had challenges, but even on her little school team, she played some volleyball games, but it was during the fall that we'd go to the volleyball matches, and we'd sit on the front line. Jim Barnes knew that Jennifer was a volleyball letterman, played here at Baylor. So the team kind of embraced her, and I think that really encouraged her, that, you know, those girls cared enough to come and talk to her at the game and gave her high fives.
Before every game, when we run out of the tunnel and we would come around or whatever, and before we would go to the net to start the game, we would run by her chair and slap her hand. And sometimes she would actually get up and walk out to the sideline and be there so that we wouldn't have to like go over to the bleachers.
After the game, we'd come up and say hi, and she knew so much about volleyball. She would kind of say, oh, good job doing this, good job doing that. And she was one of our biggest critics too. You know, she wouldn't be afraid to tell you what you did wrong either.
Molly was sick, and this was in the spring, and the volleyball girls wanted to come over and have, you know, a paint party. They put white shirts on and they have that paint tubes and they spray each other and do that.
For me, I thought it was crazy because out of all the things that they could be doing on this day when she was like standing and being interactive, that they wanted to share it with us. And I thought that was just, it was just heartwarming, you know, and she wanted to see us. And so we went over there, and they had this big backyard with this huge grass hill. And she had been in bed like all week, and she got up, and she, you know, Jen carried her out there and Dan carried her out there, and we just went crazy. I don't know, their entire yard was covered. I mean, their grass wasn't green anymore. It was awesome. And we sat out by their pool, and she sat in the chairs with us, and we all just talked about volleyball and life and paint, and it was awesome. It was a cool day.
Molly would have me do homework with her every night. I mean, she would say, Dad, it's time for homework, let's go. And she wrote with her left hand. She learned to write with her left hand because she couldn't control her right. Her right was, you know, like this all the time. And I remember her doing her math, and her left hand was losing control. And I, you know, in my heart, I'm like, it's not good. It's not good, because she never had it. It was always rock solid. So in my heart, I thought that perhaps that was kind of a sign that things were going bad for her. She just got more tired, so she would sleep more. You know, the hospice team, and you know, we got, after that last MRI, I mean, it had grown back, and it was twice the size that it was originally. So, I mean, that's how aggressive it went, from nothing in January to twice the size that it was on the original scan. And they advised us to contact hospice. She passed away 7:30 in the morning. And the doctors told us the night before that it's getting close. So she slept, I mean, she slept with Jennifer and I, and you know, just stayed with her all night.
And it was in bed that she passed away. I was holding her hand, and she had, that they had told me, Jennifer, it's going to be minutes. It's going to be minutes, because her, you know, her, all the signs of when life is ending was happening. And
then in the morning, you know, we kind of got up, and the hospice nurses were there through the night for us. And they said, you know, you need to come down, say goodbye. And we yelled up for Ben, come on down. And it's hard to watch, because he took like one last breath and didn't breathe again.
No, we were going to go up to see her at the hospital, and I thought, well, what would be fun to do? And I kind of have, you know, artistic abilities a little bit. I kind of enjoy that, and that's kind of, and for a few years I have been giving kids words of encouragement, like so-and-so the courageous, or so-and-so the excellent, and you know, just thought Molly the Braveheart. And so just wrote her a little poem, never thought anything really about it that would come of it, a little cartoon, a little poem. And then I thought, you know, she could use another one, and it had to do with volleyball. And so I pretty soon I started enjoying them. Then I knew she started looking forward to them. It was kind of like, I'm going for chemo, be like, you know, am I going to get something in the mailbox? So I would stick them in her mailbox before I knew she was going up to chemo. I didn't really know that they meant that much until I realized they were keeping them. And so that's when I kind of, like the second semester of the year, I'm like, okay, I gotta do this.
You know, afterwards we thought we need to put together something that we continue to remember Molly, and my assistant coaches, Candace, Mark, and we were talking about approaching Jen and Dan, and Van Davis was a part of this as well. And we brought it to their, we wanted to know what they thought about it, so that we would have an annual award. It'd be our top team award, basically. And we wanted them to announce who that winner was. We wanted them to pick that person that emulated what Molly was all about.
And he decided to give out the Molly the Braveheart Award, and which is really, Dan and I are so very thankful to that, and just to remember her.
When I think of that award, I think of the person who I come into the gym every day and I see that person and they remind me why I should be thankful to be there that day.
Someone that works hard every time, not just in the court in front of people, but when no one's watching, and works hard in the weight room, works hard in practice, but is an encourager.
I feel like that person is just kind of the heart and soul of the team, and they work hard every day no matter what is going on, and it's a special award. It's the one that I'd want to win, after MVP, or before MVP or anything else. I mean, that's the real stuff.
And her story has really done that, and it continues to grow to this day. Other athletes at this school have really been impacted by her.
And then Jennifer met Lake Seastrunk in a class.
I almost chickened out, I almost didn't go. And that morning I walked to the door and I almost said, I don't know if I can do this. And I said, Lord, Molly, if you want me to go in here for whatever reason it is, and if it can help one person, you gotta give me the strength to walk through this door. And I did. And he happened to be one of, I think, 10 that were in that. It was a summer class, so it was small. One of 10 that were in there. And he listened and sat and listened to the story, and then and all I told about Molly, showed pictures, and then I asked for questions. And he put up his hand. And I called on him, and I'm telling the honest truth is that it was probably 3 to 4 minutes before he could compose himself to come up with a question.
She had a fighting spirit, never to give up spirit. As you know, that's exactly what people should have in life. Some people just give up, but she didn't. And the funny thing is, she speaks to me and I hear her. That's the wonderful thing. Nobody will ever have that relationship that I have with her. I can't explain why God allowed me to have this relationship, but I always feel her presence ultimately all the time, and I know she's always walking with me. And she definitely lives through me. I feel her all the time. I think we share a lot of the same mentalities, a fighting mentality, never give up mentality, and the mentality is pretty much instilled into me and more of a fire now, because I play for her. I don't play for self-enjoyment now that I have somebody to play for. I just do my arm wrap. And I put like verses on my arm. I put Molly real big, and then I know, like the previous game I had, it was I said we're gonna run in such a way together that we get this prize. I'm still gonna continue to do it even if I'm not at Baylor. When I'm well into professional, I'm still gonna do the exact same rituals. If I get my own shoes, you will see a bright orange Molly on the side of my sneaker, because she means the world to me.
I'm done with volleyball. I've played my last point. I'm like, the shoes are hanging, they're done. I can't believe that. And I can honestly say that if it weren't for her, I don't think I wouldn't have soaked it all in like I did, because I never thought that my last game would come, whatever. And she was a constant reminder to play every point like it's my last one. And I mean, she would have killed to be in my shoes. Like, how could I not, So, but that's now transferred into an everyday thing, just to be thankful for where I'm at. So I thank her for that.
Because if anyone saw her fight, anyone saw how she handled adversity, it would inspire people to love life, to have a faith that's real, and to appreciate everything that they have. I couldn't be more proud. We couldn't be more proud. I know that. There's no accomplishment, there's nothing on this world more proud than how Molly faced this.
Molly always wanted to give to others. Her last birthday that she was alive, she didn't want gifts for herself. She asked her birthday invitees to buy a gift for the kids at Cook Children's Hospital because she didn't want them. She goes, I have everything I need, Dad. I want them for others. So that's our story, is pay it forward. We want people to think about others and give to others, because that's what Molly did.